And if you have enough people living under one roof, if you don't have your shit together, you might forget about her kid or two. And that's what we covered in last week's show about the Utah
Yeah.
lady. How's that for a segue? I gotta, you know what? I really should get paid for this. But if you want more of these shows, you can follow the membership link below, and you can get an extra, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours of our show every single month.
Hey, Mitt, just to go to the Utah thing. Mitt Romney decided he's retiring.
Oh,
You notice
great.
that today?
I thought he was running in 2024.
No, he's retiring.
Oh, okay, good.
They call a former presidential candidate Mitt Romney.
Hmm.
Well, he didn't get very far.
No.
Yeah, he was on stage during the debates, but that was about it.
So follow up from last week's episode. Ruby, Frank, and Jody Hildebrand, their content are scrubbed from YouTube, but it's done by YouTube. So they're warning if you re-upload their stuff, yeah, no bueno, which is unfortunate. We should have watched some of their stuff. Maybe they'll be posted on I don't know, some other site. So they removed their channels. And honestly, the reason I wasn't a huge fan of, but they say if we see the creators on or off platform, their behavior harms our users, community, or employees or ecosystem, we may take action to protect our community. So if you do anything off YouTube, they can ban you.
Yeah.
But this one's another thing because apparently the niece was also abused. Either the niece was the one abused, but I don't think so because they were young who were being abused, and this one has a bunch of tattoos and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
I hadn't seen that picture before.
her whole thing, the things I experienced while living with Jody, I experienced being tied, I experienced being duct taped, I experienced being blindfolded, I experienced severe isolation, I experienced severe emotional, spiritual, and psychological abuse. I experienced being told I shouldn't be around other people. Okay, I'll keep reading this. This isn't the one I thought. And that I was dangerous to be around. She kind of does look dangerous to be around. People were afraid of me to the point that I was afraid of myself. I was forced to sleep outside in the snow, isolated for 12 hours a day. Where's the interesting one? Here we go.
There we go.
Which is deeply, darkly ironic, is something that stems from shame, how horrible shame is, said Jessie, who has also shared that she was abused by Jody, of being a sex/porn addict, addicted to masturbation to the point where she wasn't allowed to use tampons or had any privacy in the restroom. How did she know that you're addicted to being okay. She wanted to make my life so uncomfortable that it would force the sin out. Where are these women? What is
What
the fuck is going on in Utah where you're just fingering yourself to fucking sinhood in the Mormon church? Okay, we gotta listen to this shit.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
What?
Fucking hell. Okay, so recap. YouTube family blogger, whose husband left her 13 months ago, was arrested. Fuck the fuck.
He's like,
child abuse. So
you're gonna get caught, honey. I'm out of here. You're on your own.
But he wasn't the only one who said that, because there are family members who also, I think older sisters, who took pictures of their arrest saying, finally, this had to happen. The other lady who got arrested, not Jody, was like, fine, or her sisters were like, finally, this needed to happen. And they knew about this.
Yeah,
what happened was this random ass house in Utah. So these two women, one had a YouTube channel talking about fucking family, how to raise a family, eek, and the other one was her business partner, and they had some deal with the county about how to fix broken families or whatever. However, she had 6 kids. 2 of them were tied up. One of them escaped, which is weird. We didn't see any windows. Went to a neighbor's house. Was seriously,
which was also weird because there wasn't any neighbors.
That one,
that was a weird. May have been a perspective look.
Right. Tied up, rope, duct tape, very skinny kid. Went over to a neighbor asking for food and water. We find out later that Jody had a history of spilling secrets about other people in the Mormon church exposing their medical history, which we can only assume what that means in a tight knit community. However, we just find a few minutes ago that there's someone related to them that's addicted to fucking fingering herself that's apparently been abused too.
You're not allowed to use tampons because we know what that's going to do.
Listen, if I have to move to Utah and start fucking saving these women, I have to do what fucking I gotta do.
Yeah, do God's work.
God's work, right? Saint fucking dude with the green slabs. Who is his name? John Smith.
On child abuse charges. The attorney for Ruby
What
Franke
the
filed a
fuck
motion
is this?
to join co-defendant Jody Hildebrandt's request for an expedited detention hearing.
Yeah, according to court documents, Franke's defense counsel is not available for the hearing scheduled for September 21st, citing a longstanding family vacation that was planned. If the judge grants the request, both women will be back in court this Thursday, September 14th instead. Want to go down to
we can't come to court because we're going on vacation to Estaban.
Is that what they said?
No, I don't know, but it's like we're going to one of the Ekistans.
You know, this unfolds.
Mark and Heidi, good evening. We spoke for about 20 minutes or so about Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrant. Jesse Hildebrant lived with Jody and received therapy with air quotes, as she described it to me today.
Who's Jesse?
Jesse described abuse while living with Jody back in 2009 or so.
Who is Jesse?
She went into detail telling me she was tied up.
These fucking news anchors suck. Remember the last episode?
There's no backstory.
Go watch the last episode where we covered this. Where they're like, there was a kid in there. They found a is it their kid or who is it?
The neighbor? Yeah, remember we said that we had. What do you mean?
Duct taped, blindfolded, experienced severe isolation, severe emotional, spiritual, and psychological abuse, among other things, such as being forced to sleep outside in the snow.
Spiritual? Like, what are they doing? Seances? Outside in the snow. Your front yard doesn't have a gate. Your backyard, I don't think, has a gate.
You could walk away, couldn't you?
Yeah, what the hell?
Forced to sleep outside in the snow.
That's not the house that they were in. Not the one they showed originally.
So there are two people.
Apparently.
Two different houses. There's Franke and there's Hildebrant. What those brown houses were in the last clips in the first episode a week ago, I assume were Franke, because it was all about Franke and didn't bring up shit about Hildebrant.
No.
I'm assuming this one's Hildebrant.
Hildebrandt's niece.
Because this episode is apparently all about Hildebrant. What we covered last week was apparently all about Franke. Two women, two business partners.
I asked her, among many other things, if she's met Ruby Franke, to which she had told me she had not and hadn't heard of her until all of this. She told me that she's seen some of her videos and found them to be quite triggering, but telling from her own experiences.
It's been a really interesting experience watching everyone focus on Ruby, and I understand why. But
yep, she looks very stable.
She looks like she's rebelling.
These words, these are.
Yep. Yep. Hey, people express themselves in different ways. You never know.
Ideas.
That's right.
These are.
And sometimes it's two hair clips, dyeing your hair, having your eyelashes be like cats, 3 different piercings on your nose, and 1 above your lip, including fillers, and about 50,000 tattoos on your chest, arms,
body, legs, who knows else. Yeah.
And that's all we know of.
Over decades old. So.
Is that why you've called Jody the mastermind behind all of this?
Yes. That doesn't excuse Ruby's involvement and her perpetuating these beliefs and these systems, but Ruby didn't come up with this. Ruby obviously supports it, and
Ruby was a mark.
So Hildebrant is the one.
Yeah. Full circle wrestling terms. Jesus Christ.
Has used these on her children. But this is coming from Jody.
I also asked Jesse if she felt the charges pertaining to felony child abuse are enough, to which
she knows she got caught.
I don't think it's.
She's like, I'm so
she also
screwed.
said she wants justice for both Ruby and Jody to be held accountable.
What do you think the public will ultimately take away from these two as it pertains to the court proceedings and such?
I mean, I just hope that Jody is not sidelined in this, because she is so so connected to what is happening. And yes, Ruby needs to be held accountable because she made those choices. She's just as guilty. But Jody's been doing this for much longer.
So Jesse told me that she's spoken to a detective working this case in southern Utah about her experiences with.
Man, like just talking to law enforcement in Utah just seems like a fucking roll of the dice. That's not to be like discouraging about it, but it does seem like a roll of the dice. Do we get the YouTube video in this, or do I have to pull that up? No, it is here. All right, so this is like the whole fucking.
When was the last time you either saw, spoke to, or in a way heard from Jody? Has it been a long time?
It's been a long time. I think it.
We're gonna do full screen. What do you mean full screen's unavailable? I know how technology works. One sec. All right, we'll finish with this clip because we're getting kind of late. And hold on, there we go.
Probably over a decade ago.
You were also under her care at one point, right?
Yeah, I was left in her care when I was a teenager, for a little under a year.
Have you met Ruby before?
No, I've never met Ruby. This is the first.
Former client speaks out against quote unquote evil practices of Connections Classroom. Okay, well,
I've ever heard of her.
Here we go.
Another
At least some of her videos, they're very difficult to watch just for. So I've never met her, but the things that she is saying.
All right, she never met her business partner.
Using are Jody's.
Okay, Jody's a mastermind.
Over decades old, so.
Okay, this has been going on for a decade.
So
Ruby's just following suit.
With Jody, I experienced being tied. I experienced being duct taped. I experienced being blindfolded. I experienced severe isolation. I experienced severe emotional, spiritual, and psychological abuse. I experienced the being told I shouldn't be around other people, being told that I was dangerous to be around. People were afraid of me to the point where I was afraid of myself. I was physically, I was forced to sleep outside in the snow. I was, like I said, isolated for up to 12 hours a day. If someone spoke to me directly, if I wasn't wearing duct tape on my mouth, I had to just stare at them.
Yeah, that's kind of a red flag.
She also had.
If you're in a room with someone with duct tape in their mouth, ask a couple questions. Why don't you?
Systems of people that would.
Hello, excuse me. I have a question.
If I broke any of these rules,
are you allowed to take the duct tape off, or do you have to leave it out?
The whole thing, which is darkly ironic, is that everything stems from shame and how horrible shame is, and that. All of the reason, like all of mental illness, all tics, so like OCDs, addiction, everything stems from shame, which is just horrifying because she is the greatest perpetuator of shame. She also, and this is like a very deep connection and why I chose to come forward to the media rather than just staying with the podcast. She accused me of being a sex addict. She accused me of being addicted to masturbation to the point where I wasn't allowed to, I mentioned this on the podcast, to the point where I wasn't allowed to use tampons. I never was allowed privacy unless I was isolated. So that included the bathroom. I was never allowed to have the door closed because she was convinced that I was just constantly masturbating. She was convinced that I was addicted to porn. I had never seen porn at that point in my life. I didn't even know that people with my anatomy could masterate. Like I had no idea any of this stuff, but I just believed her.
So this is one. So this is a niece.
Everything like.
And then there's two other kids in the other house.
Control.
Yeah.
And I'm.
They're not related.
Manipulate, and so I just believed all of these things. So her ability to convince you of these neuroticisms and these behaviors, the abuse and torturing. She wanted to make my life so uncomfortable that it would force the sin out. Believed since he was 3 years old.
Hold on.
So she just kept ramping it up. And so to hear Ruby tell the world that her child is a sex addict, a predator, and has been addicted to porn since he was 3 years old.
God
it just
damn.
echoes exactly the things that she was telling me
Okay.
and telling everyone around.
And there's the rest of the story.
3 years old, and that's it. You went down the rabbit hole.
Utah's different, man.
It's a beautiful
I know
state,
that
but
I think I don't know if I got this right, but I'm pretty sure that she's saying that he even confessed to it. Well, I also confessed to things that I didn't do as a way of trying to get the abuse to stop. Because when she's like drilling it into you both psychologically and physically that there's more, and it will stop once you tell her, because that's what she would tell you. Like in the middle of the abuse, she'd be like, I'll stop as soon as you tell me. As soon as you tell me what's going on, like what you did. Oh, she was also convinced that I had abortions.
I wonder where Jody Hildebrandt, I wonder how long ago her husband
She was convinced she made me do 12-step because she was convinced I was an addict, like a drug addict as well. I'd never done drugs. I'd never had sex. Again, I didn't know that masturbation was even possible. I had no idea what these things were. So I just started making things up on the podcast that child was being tortured.
Hold on, bring it back a few seconds.
Even if he had confessed, it cannot be taken seriously because this child was being tortured. He did to me. He goes to prison.
Her business, Connections Classroom, is this the same approach she uses for all of her patients as well that are not family or not Ruby's kids, as far as you know?
I don't remember what their business relationship was. Ruby and Jody.
They were business partners with this company. I think they both did YouTube stuff, but Ruby definitely did YouTube stuff.
Yeah, we knew that. But the business was it like, I don't know I don't remember what the business was about. Was it about YouTube?
Something about helping families. It was contracted with some family services.
And what she teaches on Connections Classroom. If it's anything even close, then I'm certain that there's going to be parallels. I know that she believes that all shame should be punished, and I know that I wouldn't be surprised. I really don't know. I've stayed away as much as possible from her and post living with her.
Why do you think it took to 2023 for a child to escape, go to a neighbor's house, call 911, and now this is a thing? Like, why did it take this long?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the people seeing her with duct tape, or there's a fucking kid sleeping outside in the snow would have.
I think
somebody might have said something.
Things. One, the church supports her.
Okay, and there's the rest of the story.
The rest of the story.
I forgot to make that.
I think we made that connection before.
Yeah. Well, now we know. We have secondary.
She's been promoted by the church, and people trust the church. Members trust their bishops. They trust their stake presidents, and a lot of these people, most people that are going to therapy, if not all, are in a vulnerable position. And she is remarkably convincing. She is also terrifying if you cross her, because she has and will systematically destroy your life. She destroys your reputation. She destroys any of your credibility. So because there are definitely people that have been speaking out against her. She lost her license because of someone speaking out in 2012. Like, everyone's not just been like, okay, yeah, for sure, fair game, free for all. People have been criticizing her. That's just that no one has listened. Because one, we have a culture of people not believing children and not trusting children. And also children trust their parents, and then the parents trust the church. So there's been, and Jody, what she does that's so tricky is that she utilizes and uses whatever is available. So if you go to her with OCD, if you go to her with severe depression, she'll use that information as a way of control. Mm-hmm. Oh, you have OCD because you have deep-rooted shame. And those tics are happening because the shame has nowhere to go. And so it's coming out in this neuroticism. And then, or let's say you told her that you lied. which is a normal human thing that we've all done. That doesn't make you a liar. Oh, well, you lied. You're a liar. Now, everything you say is a lie. Talk and corroborate, like a very unwell person. I don't. Yeah. So it's devastating because I went forward as well. I mean, I went to the police when I was 16. I tried to do what I could, and no one believed me, because why would they? She destroyed my credibility. I was an angry teenager, and now I'm just you're just like an emotional, angry teenager and she had told people that I destroyed my family's life, that I destroyed my dad's life, that every person I come in contact, I destroy. So she sets up the premise. And then when I come forward and try to tell people like, this is what's happening, she can be like, oh, see, Jesse's trying to destroy my life is what they do. It just all adds up. So she's so good at protecting those loopholes and discrediting people.
Is that why you think maybe other members of both families still won't speak out publicly about this right now and are staying quiet? Or do you think it's a fear thing, or just?
Well, now is a great time to do that. I mean, I've met people whose parents are like that. They have a relative like that. And like, I'm glad to see that they've died young, but like that's definitely
stay out of it. Is there any thought process on that?
I can't speak to why people aren't. I know the culture of my family. I think that it's probably probably a number of things. Some people, I think it's just that they themselves have been harmed so much by her, and they want to stay. They just want to live their life and
fuck that
not
bitch.
be
I'm
dragged
staying out
into
of it.
this. Other members, it could be fear. I can't say. All I can say, and again, the only reason why I'm coming forward, I was not planning on coming forward to the media other than just doing the podcast interview, is when I heard that Ruby accused her child of this, because and I just hope that this can give the public some context and some clarity of what is happening and why they should not believe
porn addict. 3-year-old porn addict.
So 6 charges of aggravated child abuse. That's what's on the table. I'm sure you're not a legal expert. I'm not either, but I've talked to a number of attorneys just kind of about this case, more about the hype of the case, because it's obviously gotten a ton of attention.
You talk to one
profile, right? Because of the high profile
a number, which is one
of the YouTube channel. And that's why I think it's interesting we're talking about Jodi, because Ruby's got, as you mentioned, is getting the spotlight in a weird enough punish,
including my own child abuse that I experienced. I mean, I want justice, and I want fair justice. So I want everything that she has done, that both of them have done, to be held accountable. Whether that be 6, 12, 18, however many, I just want to see that she is held accountable for the things that she has done. But I personally believe that is not covering everything that she's done. And I can say that because I know that she's not being held accountable for what she did to me. In the legal system, I mean.
How closely are you following this? Are you looking every day to see if there's something new that's put out? I mean, where is your mindset at with the case, so to speak?
Yeah, I'm not following it every single day. I'm trying to navigate just my own emotional safety in all of this. I'm trying to stay up to date. I have people that have sent me things that feel out like with Ruby's accusations. I had someone sent that to me because she's painted him as this thing, regardless of what comes out. Someone sent that to me, and I was sitting in the parking lot of Lowe's, and I started having a panic attack because it was just so directly similar. I mean, the exact thing. This is exactly what she does. This is what Jodi does. And so now, because she's painted him as this thing, regardless of what comes out, like he's no longer, I mean, I think hopefully the public can see through this and the judge.
Well, that's the fucking thing. It's like everyone outside of Utah, everyone outside of the Mormon church is like, yeah, burn the witch. Like everyone. Yeah. Like there's no, I don't think there's that understanding. Just like we talk a whole lot of shit about the hometown. And I got my own story going up directly against the county and winning. And costing you a shit ton. But fucking vindicated and getting, countless messages about that. And hearing people from, above ground and underground, like, yeah, shit's fucked up. and then it falls apart. And next thing you know, within a year, like 7 billion people, if you're on the left or the right, between the Chauvin trial, between the Floyd thing, between the Potter trial, it's like, what the fuck is going on there? And it's still worse. But
we touched just the surface of what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and with this, it's like, but yeah, everyone,
the surface.
Any other normal person on the outside are like, yeah, that's messed up. Why would you want to be there? But why is everyone else going along with it? And it's like, once again, manipulation, propaganda. I didn't mean to tie that into the whole damn story in the show. I guess it's a really good show, but
judge can see through this. But that's the goal, is so that he says is now no longer credible.
He's a
what
kid.
do you think the public will ultimately take away from these two?
Well, they're the easiest ones manipulated.
Right, and it sounds like now is a time where you can line up case after case after case and just bury both of them.
Things and such.
I mean, I just hope that Jodi is not sidelined in this, because she is so connected to what is happening. And yes, Ruby needs to be held accountable because she.
Okay, we heard.
But Jodi's been doing this for much. As far as I'm aware, I hope I got this right. We're in Jodi's care. Like.
Okay, so that's the part that we heard already.
Yeah.
And then
wow. How can it get more?
Another former client who says this is
here we go, another one.
He believes a lot more former clients will come forward with their stories of both shame and isolation.
All right. Well, there's the answer to our question.
Yeah, Paul Nelson tells us more about this part of the story. Paul?
Well,
the continuing story.
Of professional licensing. We'll explain why in just a little bit. However, the former client that we spoke with, his name is Trey Warner, and he says that Jodi Hildebrant was really good at using shaming tactics to pit husband and wives against each other. And he also says that she was very good at convincing people that they were dangerous.
The other one's husband left 13 months ago.
The angry comments coming into the Connections Classroom social media pages now are just the beginning, according to former client Trey Warner. He joined a support group at the recommendation of a friend trying to improve his marriage. But after a while, he says he grew more suspicious of what Jodi Hildebrant was teaching.
It started to feel more and more evil. And I finally, in one of the group meetings, I got up and I just said, this is off.
Warner claims Hildebrant would use shaming tactics to turn husbands and wives against each other, adding that she would convince men that their impure thoughts made them dangerous to their families. He says he saw one case during a group session.
There was a man that had successful business that believed that he was a danger to his wife and his family because he did a double take. As a woman, like if he saw a beautiful woman, he would see and he'd look again. This guy got his own apartment and separated from his family because he was a danger.
In some cases, Warner claims husbands were separated from their families for so long, they were considering suicide.
They felt so sick and like such a failure that they just felt like they shouldn't be here anymore.
The self-help videos on the Connections Classroom website have been removed by YouTube. The Division of Professional Licensing has an open case against Hildebrant, and her
they should archive that shit.
However, Division Director Mark Steinigal says they are allowed to revoke a therapist's license if they believe harm is imminent.
Our harm would not just be physical harm, especially in mental health therapy.
Steinigal says the investigation process can sometimes be a lengthy one.
How can you assure the public that when a complaint comes in, it isn't just brushed aside? Yeah. I wish that I could help.
Yeah, I really like that the camera zoomed in on him right as he said that. It's like, listen, this shit's been going on for a while and they've been speaking out. Why isn't it going in?
When a complaint comes in, it isn't just brushed aside. Yeah.
Zoom?
I wish that I help each member of the public to watch my team when they receive a complaint.
Yeah,
we did actually reach out to Jodi Hildebrandt's attorney. We asked them for any kind of comment about these accusations, and those requests have not been returned yet.
Yeah, because they're like, dude, shit's fucked. And then the sister of this aged passengers thing.
Charged with abusing children is speaking out. Ruby Frank's sister posted the video response on her own YouTube channel.
News special Shelby Lofton tells us the claims that she is making after this arrest. Shelby?
Mike and Deanie, this is really the first time that we're hearing from a family member who was really close to Ruby Franke.
All right, hurry up.
3 years ago, and today she's breaking her silence.
What my family and I have gone through the last couple of weeks is the worst thing that has ever happened.
Ruby Franke's immediate and extended family are known for
I mean, 9/11 was 2 days ago, but
putting their
No, I
daily
don't have
lives
to worry about that one.
Her sister says
This is
so
way
many
worse.
kept behind the scenes for years.
We did not have access to anyone.
Police say they found 2 of Franke's children in the basement of her business partner, Jody Hildebrandt's Ivan's home.
in the basement. So did they
Looks like
go
the
to
house is in the basement?
go through an egress?
emaciated with wounds all over their bodies.
It makes me tremble because it is unheard of.
Bonnie Holdeen says she thought Hildebrandt and her business connections were extreme.
It was complete indoctrination.
She says as an aunt, she did everything legally possible to protect the children.
And for those that were saying that they'd go in and bust down doors and do whatever it took to end up in jail, because from jail, I can't do anything.
She points the finger at her brother-in-law, Ruby's husband.
It was.
Whoa! Wait! It's his fault now.
Hold on. The dude who left out
13 months ago.
What the? Okay, I'll hear you out.
Job to check in on things, and he did not.
He was just simply following what she and Jody were telling him.
Kevin Franke's
It sounds like he ran for his fucking life.
He's like, I gotta get out of here.
Hildebrandt and Ruby told him to.
He was being berated and belittled and torn down by Jody, and constantly being told he was selfish and greedy and he needed to repent.
Kester says Ruby told her husband to move out of the family home.
If you want to stay married and
okay, well,
you want to patch up our marriage and make things work and help our children, you'll stay away.
He says Kevin didn't see his children for a year. Kester says Hildebrandt brainwashed Kevin.
He's trying to seek professional help.
Franke's sister says there's more than one person to blame.
Ruby and Kevin and Jody and connections have been destroying our lives offline.
Wait till you hear about the Mormon church, lady.
Yeah.
All right, now who the fuck is this? Because this happened
I'm speaking to
20 minutes ago. My sister, Ruby Franke. She looks like it could be her sister. Is this a real thing? All right, we're going to assume it's a real thing. Fucking hell, dude. There's so much shit going on.
Say about my sister, Ruby Franke, who was arrested a few weeks ago for child abuse. By now, you probably know that. You also probably have seen my sister Bonnie's video. I was about to post a video yesterday.
So this is breaking news, so we're on top of it. So don't say we didn't do anything cool for you guys.
Yesterday or
That's right.
today, and just couldn't bring myself to do it. I've been trying to gather my thoughts for several weeks, and I don't think I'm ever going to have my thoughts completely put together here because it's involved so many people. There's so many little details. I am not going to be a news update. I will not update you on news. I will not give all of the little nitty gritty details. I know I don't need to sit here and defend myself.
Shut up. Hurry up.
Weeks have been extremely hard.
Yep.
Not only did all that happen with Ruby, but I had just moved to a new state, and Landon had to go back to Utah to finish up his dissertation for his degree. And so I've been settling into a new home with the kids without his help, and all of this fell down. So I literally have not had the physical or emotional capacity to address anyone, nor do I need to address anyone. But here we are. 3 years ago, Ruby, everything was great. It seemed to be fine anyway. We were a typical family. She was getting some therapy counseling because their family needed it, which I think is great. However, I think you need to get it from a great source. Read the reviews. Jody Hildebrandt and her website or therapy style, I don't know what you want to call it, connections, was not a great resource. And we all saw it. We all felt weird about this Jody lady. We weren't comfortable with it. We didn't like it. We didn't like the teachings Ruby was bringing to the family functions. And we were this close to telling her, if you come to our family events anymore, we do not want to hear what you were learning through connections because we don't like it. We never did say that to her, but we thought it. Anyway, so 3 years ago, Ruby and I hung out bottling tomatoes. And then a few weeks later, crap hit the fan and she left the family. And she didn't even call me to say, hey, you know, Julie, you're doing this and this. I don't like it. You're living your life in distortion. So I'm going to have to take some time away from you. No, literally nothing. She did call my mom and yelled at my mom on the phone for 45 minutes and accused her of things that were not true. It was almost as if Ruby had been making up memories from her childhood. She was trying to grab at anything she could, and she would exaggerate on everything. So she started all of her lies back then, lying to everyone in her life, getting rid of all of her friends and family. And I literally had no contact with her. She wouldn't respond to any texts or emails over the time that I tried reaching out to her. Never got a response from her. So I was very fortunate to have been able to reach out to her daughter, Sherry, once she was an adult, and we were able to form a really close, strong relationship, which I am grateful for. And it was then that I learned more about Ruby, and it was then that Sherry had learned about lies that had been told to her. I feel like me and my other sisters have said, we feel like we've just been kind of floating on a cloud here these past few weeks. We are in complete shock still as to what she had done because we had no idea of what was happening. Basically, I'm here to say that I had no idea what was happening. Like Bonnie mentioned in her video, we are not going to let Ruby destroy another thing in our lives. We have our platforms where we try and bring brightness and positivity into other people's lives. And that is why we didn't talk about Ruby in our content for the past 3 years. Yeah, we try and show the highs and lows of everyday family and parenting, but Ruby's topic was not supposed to be part of that content. And it was none of your business. It was nothing that we needed to talk about. And I wasn't sure if her kids were maybe still watching these videos, and I didn't want to be not tactful and slander their mom and then have them watch those videos. That didn't sound like a nice thing to do either. And so that is another reason why we didn't talk about the subject of Ruby for the past few years on my channel. However, as far as my platforms go, I do want to continue them, but the content will probably look a little bit different. I have some pre-recorded videos before all of this fell apart that I will be posting. And then after those videos, I will probably just shift my content a little bit and it'll be a little different, but I will still be here posting
all right, cool.
Love no matter what.
All right, so
Utah is different, man.
Here's the first thing that came to my mind. Well, obviously, there's evil on Earth, right?
Yeah.
And you've heard the word succubus before.
Yep.
Kind of falls into that category, doesn't it?
Yep. She's some vampire-y bitch, dude.
Correct. I mean, that doesn't have to be bloodletting or stuff like that. It's emotional, heart-wrenching. Anything you can do to take someone else down is how you get your life. That's how you get your life force.
Yeah. I mean, again, all of these things about 101 cult leader stuff, isolate them from their family, splinter relationships. Like
Jim
literally,
Jones. I mean,
I hate to call it level 1 level shit, but she did it, and she did it. I mean, these are a lot of things that a lot of people wouldn't fall for, but even these Mormon ladies, they might not be Mormon ladies, but the rest of the family was able to point out what's going on.
And this Judy Hildebrant sounds like she's the leader of this. And
this is some evil
she found
shit.
someone to follow her ways, which means now there's 2 of them. Fucking Mark! And it's like, wow, they just once there's 2, then you go get. It's like a big pyramid thing. You go get 2 now, and then we'll have 8.
Yeah, you'd be the flying monkey. You go find more apostles.
Yeah, exactly. That's just frightening because we know this is going on. It's not just them. I mean, let's go right to Danny Masterson.
Yeah, well, so the Scientology. It's all. And it's been going on. Here's the thing, as we said before, we brought up, other countries' propaganda methods and manipulation methods. And we talked about distractions and coliseums and psycho. Like it's been going on forever. And these small ways that they get you to care, they get you to move. You know, you
It's
get
the evil
played.
on earth.
Yeah, I mean, we use that psychology in fucking wrestling promoting talk, but
yeah,
hey, like they got played, and some really evil shit went around it too, and
but they don't even think that it's evil.
They're fanatics. They don't know the difference of what's going on. They're engulfed by what's going by
They're
by what
so
they're
focused on that thought.
Yeah.
That they can't think outside that thought. And so they're like, "Oh, this is the true way."
Yeah, and you know what? Her thing was called her YouTube channel or Instagram was called like Moms for Truth or something like that.
Okay.
And we brought up before, you know, the truth of community and all that, man. Like
as soon as somebody looks at you and goes, "I'm telling you the truth," you know they're lying.
Yeah, I mean, what's the old saying? Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. I mean, this is
exactly.
That
was it. I
Yeah.
mean, something about there was read something about you read this, you hear this, and you know, because anybody can write anything, anybody can say anything. It's up to you to decide whether or not what they're writing or what they're saying is the truth. And if they say this is the truth, you know they're lying. Because they don't have to tell you it's the truth if they know it's the truth.
What's the Jack Sparrow quote? A dishonest man you can always trust to be honest. Dishonestly. It's the honest ones you have to be worried about.
Yeah. I mean, where do you go, Jack?
Yeah. You know what? Rum tells in vino veritas, you know, and getting drunk tell the truth. You know what? This is speaking about the truth of this story. It sounds like this is just the tip of the iceberg. And you can tell that all these people who are speaking out on it.
I hope we can hear more about this just breaking something down.
Yeah, because you know her sister, you can tell that it was hard, but it felt good. You could definitely felt good after she got all that out.
And how many families in Utah are watching these videos and going, "See, she's lying."
Yeah, and are seeing similar patterns of like, oh, they know someone who's going through the same shit or something like that throughout the fucking.
We've watched all the cult leaders around, you know, the Jim Jones, you know, what's his name, Kirk in Texas.
For every one you hear of, there's like, because those are the ones that did something.
1,000 more.
Yeah, there's 1,000 more doing this like inter-family shit with just like 3 or 4 different people.
I had a cousin, honest to God, a cousin, very smart young lady, right? Very smart young lady.
Yeah.
She turned, I think she was like 19 or 20 years old. She was going to college, got involved in this group, disappeared.
Yeah.
Occasionally she would send a letter like, "I'm still alive." Never heard from her again, never saw her again. Broke her mom and dad's hearts, right?
Yeah.
But she didn't care. Because I'm with my people now. That's what her words were. I'm with my people. I mean,
I hate to do this, but like to do another callback. You remember this shit?
What's that?
The spiritual enlightenment.
For some people in the Twin Cities, that path leads through
oh my God. Yes.
65-year-old Minnetonka
Chicken
woman.
cult?
A lawsuit filed last month has put a spotlight on her and her business. Tom Elliott, Fox 9 investigators.
I was going to go investigate, remember?
Yeah, you were going to join the cult.
I was going to join the cult just to see what would happen.
Food trucks in the Twin Cities. You'll find
We
one
never
that
got an
claims with a
update,
wink
by the way, I don't
to be
think.
bad for
It
both.
just went away.
The Bad Rooster, offering wings, hot
The
sauces,
Bad Rooster.
puns. Co-owner
Wait for
Solaire
it.
Alaray calls herself the chief mother clucker.
We've been dealing with this for 15 years, and I don't know why we've been quiet about it.
But for two sisters, Kelly Abadi and Angela Hummelgard, there's more going on here than spicy chicken. They believe their 70-year-old mother, Mary Ring, sometimes works in the food truck, but they've rarely seen or heard from her in the last 15 years.
As far as I know, she's the oldest person who works on the food truck.
So when the Bad Rooster, announced a few weeks ago, was on hiatus after a death in the family, the sisters feared the worst.
Is this
Jesus.
it? Is this really how we're gonna hear that she passed?
So I sent a couple of messages just saying, you know, I'm so sorry for your loss. Can you just let me know if this was my mother?
Finally, 6 days later, a message back.
We can't share any personal information. Please cease and desist. And the text message from my mother, which ultimately confirmed she was still alive because she was sending me a text message,
Well,
was this kind of long rant about how I had no right to ask about her. And I was getting a taste of my own medicine.
The sisters say their mother changed 15 years ago after she joined a group called Soulful Journey. Its
That's
leader, Solaire Alaray, from the food truck, who was formerly known as Lin Young.
and there's the rest of the story.
Yeah,
I'm a life
okay.
strategist.
I remember we discussed this,
and I've done stupid.
Well, this was 2 years ago?
On YouTube, she serves.
Damn, man, I don't even know if it was that long.
Maybe a year and a half.
New Age hippie cult. A year ago, a couple of weeks ago, man. All this shit was happening a year ago, and look, all this stuff's still going on. It's still weird stuff. No updates.
And there's nothing on this story. I'd completely forgot. I remembered it, but I completely forgot about it. You know what I mean? I remember the story, Soulful Journey. I wonder if I could look up to see if they actually got a website still anymore.
Imagine if it's still around. But hey, listen, we got to wrap this one up.
Yeah,
it's about that time. But hey, as we said,
Soulful Journey.
Governments have these propaganda things. Even though we talk about it on a big scale, we talk about propaganda outlets. We talk about how humans have been manipulated just subtly, man. Whether it be, we act a certain way naturally, but if you get there are different ways to make people care about things. And sometimes it's no harm, no foul. You're allowed to enjoy things. You go to Broadway, you see the thing that you like. It's, they use the same tactics, but these small things that marketers use can be used in many other ways too. And whether it be getting people to war, whether it be getting people to hate each other, we'll be getting to be calling everyone Nazis who are Nazis, and sometimes are Nazis, calling people who aren't Nazis.
And we don't
you
know we don't know who the Nazis are anymore.
And sometimes
everybody's a Nazi.
And sometimes it's this Utah family shit that we're gonna keep an eye on too. Keep an eye out, learn these tactics yourself, strengthen yourself, your mind, your spirit, your soul. Don't pay too much attention to college football unless you want to. You know what? It's your life. Don't let anyone or any other streamer tell you what you should or shouldn't do.
Right.
We will not be held responsible for that shit. And this is not the show is not brought to you by Tampax.
This is about entertainment.
Yeah. We are an entertainment show. We will not be liable for all the things.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. We're covered.
Good night, everybody.
Here's the rest of